My name is Mason Reed. I'm 28 years old, born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and I've spent most of my life pretending my feelings can be managed like spreadsheets, sorted, filtered, filed away until they stop making noise. They don't. This is the story I've never told anyone. I call it, "She Caught Me Staring and Said, Don't be shy, come inside if you dare." It started the week my life began collapsing in quiet ways, like a building settling before it cracks. I worked as a junior architect at a boutique firm downtown called Harrow and Lang. Glass walls, polished concrete, the kind of place where everyone speaks softly but thinks loudly. We designed expensive homes for people who never looked at a budget the way I did, like it could bite. That Monday, my boss, Grant Harrow, pulled me into the conference room and slid a folder across the table. His smile was polite, practiced. "New client," he said. "Big one. Time sensitive. We need you on site by Wednesday." I glanced at the name on the folder and felt my stomach dip. Evelyn Cross. Grant's eyes held mine a little too steadily. "You've heard of her." Everyone had. Evelyn Cross owned half the riverfront redevelopment projects in the city. People called her ruthless in a way that sounded admiring. She was the kind of woman who could fund your dreams or bury your career under paperwork. "What's the catch?" I asked. Grant laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Just deliver. That's what we do." I didn't tell him I'd already met Evelyn once. Years ago, in a different life, when my mother still answered my calls and my father's name didn't land in conversations like a grenade. By Wednesday afternoon, rain slid down my windshield as I drove into the hills above the city. The Cross residence rose out of the trees like a memory you can't outrun, stone, glass, and a driveway that curved like it was deciding whether to let you approach. The security gate opened without a word. Inside the house, the air smelled like cedar and something expensive I couldn't name. A woman's laughter drifted from somewhere deeper in the halls, low and warm, then stopped abruptly, as if she'd sensed me. A housekeeper led me to the back wing where the garage connected to a workshop. "She's in there," the housekeeper said softly. "Be careful." The workshop door was half open. Light poured out like a stage spotlight. And there she was. Evelyn Cross stood barefoot on a concrete floor, wearing a simple fitted sweater and jeans like she'd never needed armor. Her hair was pulled into a loose knot. She held a paintbrush in one hand and a cloth in the other, as if she'd been caught between creating and erasing. She looked up at me and froze. Time did that thing it does in the movies, slowed down until you can hear your own blood. I'd seen photos, headlines, interviews. None of them prepared me for the way her eyes landed on me like she already knew the ending. "Mr. Reed," she said. My throat tightened. "Miss Cross." "Evelyn." The correction wasn't sharp. It was intimate. I stepped forward, the folder tucked under my arm like a shield. My gaze snagged on her hands, paint on her knuckles, a faint scar near her wrist, and for half a second I forgot to breathe. Her mouth curved, almost amused, almost sad. That's when she caught me staring. Not at the room, not at the house, at her. She tilted her head, eyes bright with something dangerous. "Don't be shy," she said, voice dropping like a dare. "Come inside if you dare." The words hit my chest like a shove. I tried to recover, tried to be professional, but my mind was suddenly crowded with a memory I hadn't invited. My mother whispering, "Don't trust the Cross family," and my father replying, "It's too late for that." I cleared my throat. "I'm here about the renovation." "Oh, I know why you're here," she said, and the way she said it made my skin prickle. "I requested you." That stopped me. I didn't. I began, then caught myself. "Why?" Evelyn set the paintbrush down carefully, like it mattered where it landed. She walked closer. The space between us shrank until I could see tiny flecks of gold in her irises. "Because you're Grant Harrow's favorite," she said, "and because I recognize the way you look at a room before you step into it." My pulse jumped. "What does that mean?" "It means you've learned to measure exits." Her eyes softened, but not enough to feel safe. People who had easy childhoods don't do that. I felt a flash of heat, half anger, half embarrassment. "I'm not here to talk about my childhood." "No," she agreed. "You're here because your firm wants my money." She turned and walked past me, and I caught a faint scent, bergamot, maybe, mixed with sawdust and rain. "Come," she said over her shoulder. "Let's see if you're as good as they say." We moved through the workshop and into the garage. It was spotless except for a ladder beneath a ceiling light fixture that hung open, wires exposed like a nerve. I've had 3 electricians, Evelyn said. None of them could fix it without making a bigger mess. I set down the folder and stared up at the light. It's a simple fixture. She leaned against the workbench, arms crossed. Then it should be simple for you. I climbed the ladder, tools in hand, trying not to feel her eyes tracking every movement. The silence between us stretched, filled only by the soft tap of rain on the roof. You're not an electrician, she said. I'm competent, I replied, and heard the tension in my own voice. You were always competent. My hands paused on the wire. Always. I looked down at her. We've met before. Evelyn didn't smile this time. Her expression drifted into something more serious, almost haunted. Not like this, she said. But yes, we have. My heart gave a strange, uneven beat. I didn't like how calm she was, like she'd rehearsed this conversation. Like she'd been waiting for me to remember something I'd buried on purpose. You requested me, I said slowly. Why? Evelyn stepped closer to the ladder, close enough that if I slipped, I'd fall into her. Her voice softened. Because your last name isn't just a name, Mason, she said. It's a story. I swallowed. What story? Her eyes flicked toward the hallway, like she was checking for someone listening. Then she looked back up at me, and the warmth in her face vanished, replaced by a cold kind of honesty. The kind that destroys families, she whispered, and the kind that gets people hurt. A sharp vibration buzzed in my pocket, my phone. I fumbled it out with one hand. A text from my sister, Naomi. Don't go in her house. Please. He's back. My breath caught. Who's back? Evelyn's gaze dropped to my phone, then returned to my face like she'd just seen something confirm her worst fear. My husband, she said quietly. I stared at her, confused. You're married? The way she blinked, slow and deliberate, felt like a door shutting. You didn't know? She murmured. Of course you didn't. Something shifted in the air, like the house itself had leaned in. Then, from somewhere deeper inside the corridor, a man's voice drifted toward us, smooth, familiar in a way that made my blood turn to ice. Mason, the voice called. Is that you? My hands went numb around the wires. Because I knew that voice. I hadn't heard it in years. And the last time I did, my mother cried for 3 days straight, and my father left the house without saying goodbye. Evelyn didn't move. She just looked up at me, and in her eyes I saw it. Regret, fear, and something else that felt terrifyingly like longing. Now you understand, she whispered. Why I told you to come inside. I couldn't breathe. Footsteps approached, unhurried, confident, like whoever was walking down that hall owned every shadow in the place. And I was still on the ladder, exposed, trapped between a broken light and a woman who had just pulled my past out of the dark. The footsteps stopped just outside the garage doorway. I climbed down from the ladder slowly, every muscle tight, as if moving too fast would shatter something fragile. Evelyn didn't step away from me. She stood close, too close, like she was bracing herself for impact. The man stepped into view. Tall, silver at the temples, expensive coat hanging open like he'd just returned from conquering something. Daniel Cross. My uncle. The word hit my mind like a crack of thunder. I hadn't seen him since I was 16, since the night my father punched a hole through our kitchen wall and my mother whispered, "He ruined us." Daniel's smile spread slowly when he saw me. It wasn't warm. It was precise. Well, he said, voice smooth as polished glass. Family reunions keep getting more creative. My chest tightened. I didn't know you lived here. Evelyn shifted beside me, her hand brushing the back of my wrist, a fleeting contact that felt like a warning. Or maybe a plea. Daniel's eyes flicked to that tiny movement and lingered there a second too long. I wondered when you'd recognize each other, he said casually, stepping further into the room. Evelyn has excellent taste in collaborators. I hired him for work, Evelyn replied, her tone cool but controlled. Daniel laughed softly. Of course you did. The tension between them crackled like static. I felt it pressing against my skin, making it hard to think. You didn't tell me you were married, I said to Evelyn, my voice lower than I intended. She held my gaze, something raw passing through her eyes. I didn't think it mattered for the renovation. It matters to me, Daniel cut in. Everything here matters to me. The way he said everything made my stomach twist. I remembered the fights at home, my father shouting about contracts, betrayal, money that disappeared overnight. I remembered my mother crying into a towel so my sister and I wouldn't hear. You're the reason my family fell apart, I said quietly. The words hung heavy in the air. Daniel's smile didn't fade. That's one version of the story. Dad lost everything because of you. No, Daniel said gently. Your father lost everything because he trusted the wrong people. His eyes slid toward Evelyn again. She stiffened. A knot formed in my chest. What does she have to do with this? Evelyn's breath caught, almost imperceptibly. Daniel clasped his hands behind his back, pacing slowly like he was presenting a lecture. You see, Mason, long before you joined Harrow and Lane, long before you climbed that ladder, his eyes flicked up toward the broken light. Our families were entangled. I shook my head. You're avoiding the point. I'm getting there. He stopped, looking between us. Your father designed a housing project for me years ago. Brilliant work. But someone leaked the plans early. Investors pulled out. Lawsuits followed. Your father blamed me. I blamed him. And where does Evelyn fit in? I asked. Silence settled. Evelyn stepped forward, her voice quieter now. I worked for Daniel's company back then. Junior strategist. I handled some of the contracts. My heart dropped. You knew my father? Her eyes softened with something like regret. I knew of him. I didn't know what would happen. Daniel sighed theatrically. Ancient history. It's not ancient to me, I snapped. The garage suddenly felt too small, too loud with unspoken things. Evelyn reached for my arm again, hesitating before her fingers made contact. Mason, I didn't ask for you to come here to hurt you. Then why? My voice cracked despite myself. Why request me? Why drag me into this? Her lips parted, but before she could answer, Daniel spoke. Because she's lonely, he said lightly. And you remind her of someone she used to believe in. The words felt like a slap. Evelyn turned toward him, anger flashing across her face. Stop. But Daniel just watched us, amused. I stepped back, needing distance from both of them. I should leave. No, Evelyn said quickly. The urgency in her voice stopped me mid-turn. Please, just give me 5 minutes. Daniel raised an eyebrow, clearly entertained. I'll be in my office, he said, already walking away. Try not to break anything important. When his footsteps faded, the air seemed to collapse inward. I ran a hand through my hair. You knew he was my uncle. Yes. And you didn't tell me. Her shoulders sagged, like she'd been carrying a weight too heavy to keep holding. I thought if I told you immediately, you'd walk out before hearing the truth. What truth? She hesitated, eyes searching my face. For a moment, she looked less like a powerful businesswoman and more like someone standing on the edge of a confession she'd rehearsed 100 times. The leak that destroyed your father's project, she said slowly, wasn't him. And it wasn't Daniel either. My pulse pounded. Then who? Her voice dropped to a whisper. Someone inside your own family. The world tilted. That's impossible, I said automatically. I've seen the files, she replied. The original contracts. The signatures. Mason, someone close to you sold the information before the project even launched. My chest tightened painfully. Images of my father shouting, my mother crying, my sister avoiding eye contact flashed through my mind like broken film. Why tell me this now? I asked. Evelyn's eyes shimmered with something fragile. Because I watched your family fall apart from a distance, and I did nothing. And when I saw your name come through Harrow and Lane, I thought maybe this was a chance to fix something I should have fought harder to stop. The silence stretched between us, heavy and intimate. Rain tapped harder against the roof. You don't even know me, I said softly. I know enough, she whispered. I know you carry guilt that isn't yours. I know you look at exits because you expect things to collapse. And I know that when you walked into this room, it felt like the first honest moment I've had in years. Her words landed somewhere deep in my chest, stirring something I didn't want to feel. A dangerous warmth. But underneath it, suspicion crawled. You're still married to him, I said. Her jaw tightened. It's complicated. Complicated doesn't cover this, I replied. My family hates him. You worked for him. And now you're telling me someone in my own house betrayed us. She took a step closer, voice barely above a breath. I'm telling you because you deserve the truth, even if it destroys what you thought you knew. Before I could respond, a loud crash echoed from deeper inside the house, glass shattering, followed by Daniel's voice, sharp and furious. Evelyn flinched. Her hand found mine instinctively, gripping tight. Stay, she said, eyes wide with something close to fear. Please don't leave yet. And for a moment, despite every warning in my head, I didn't pull away, because whatever was coming next felt bigger than old grudges. And somehow, I was already part of it. The crash echoed again, sharper this time. Something heavy scraped across the floor inside the house, followed by Daniel's voice. Low, furious, no longer polished for an audience. Evelyn's grip on my hand tightened. For the first time since I'd met her, she looked genuinely shaken. "I need to go check," she whispered. "You look scared of him," I said. Her eyes flicked toward the hallway. "I'm careful around him." That wasn't the same thing. We stepped into the corridor together. The house that had seemed elegant minutes ago now felt like a stage after the audience leaves. Too quiet, shadows stretching longer than they should. Daniel stood in the living room near a shattered wine glass, staring down at his phone. When he saw us, his expression reset into that familiar, controlled smile. "Domestic chaos," he said lightly. "Nothing to worry about." Evelyn didn't answer. She walked past him, kneeling to pick up a shard of glass. The movement felt automatic, practiced, like she'd cleaned up after him before. A knot formed in my chest. "You said someone in my family leaked the project?" I said, forcing the words into the open. "Who?" Daniel's gaze sharpened. So we're sharing secrets now." Evelyn rose slowly. "It's time he knew." Daniel exhaled, long and slow, like he'd been waiting for this moment. "Your father didn't destroy himself," he said to me. "But he didn't protect you either." "What does that mean?" My voice felt thin. Daniel stepped closer, lowering his tone. "The leak came from inside your home, Mason. And the person who signed the final release authorization was your sister." The world tilted. "Naomi." The text message from earlier flashed through my mind. "Don't go in her house. He's back." "No," I said immediately. She was 16. She didn't even understand contracts. "She didn't have to," Daniel replied. Someone guided her. I turned to Evelyn, searching her face for denial, for proof this was manipulation. But her eyes were filled with quiet sorrow. "She didn't mean to hurt anyone," Evelyn said gently. "She thought she was protecting your father from a bigger loss. She believed Daniel's company would keep the project alive." My chest tightened so hard it hurt to breathe. "She was a kid," I whispered. "Yes," Evelyn said softly. "And kids carry guilt longer than adults realize." A memory surfaced. Naomi avoiding family dinners. Naomi locking herself in her room when the lawsuit started. Naomi never explaining why she stopped drawing after that year. Anger surged through me, hot and confused. "You're telling me my whole life, my parents' divorce, all of it came from a mistake?" Daniel shrugged. "A chain reaction. That's business." I took a step toward him before I even realized I'd moved. "You used her." His smile faded slightly. "I offered an opportunity. She chose." Evelyn stepped between us, her voice firm. "Enough." Silence settled, thick and heavy. I felt something inside me shift, not just anger at Daniel, but something deeper. The realization that every story I'd built my identity on was incomplete. "I need air," I muttered, turning toward the back patio. Rain misted the glass doors. Outside, the hills blurred into gray. I stepped onto the covered terrace, breathing hard, trying to steady myself. Footsteps followed. Evelyn stopped a few feet away, giving me space. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. "You should hate me," she said finally. "I was part of that world. I watched your family unravel from a distance." I stared at the rain. "I don't know what I feel right now." "That's fair." Her honesty disarmed me more than any apology could. "Why stay with him?" I asked quietly. She hesitated, then answered without deflecting. "Because leaving him isn't just emotional. It's legal, financial, dangerous in ways people don't see." She met my eyes. "And because I told myself I could fix things from the inside." "And did you?" Her lips curved into a sad smile. "Not enough." The space between us felt charged, not just with attraction, but with shared exhaustion. "I didn't ask you here to pull you into my life," she continued. "I asked you because I wanted to give you the truth before someone else twisted it." I thought about Naomi, about years of resentment aimed at the wrong person, about my father's silence, about the way Evelyn had looked at me in the garage, like she recognized something fragile and refused to crush it. "You didn't have to tell me," I said. "Yes, I did." Her voice softened. "Because sometimes the only way to stop repeating a story is to finally hear the full version of it." A long pause settled between us. Rain drummed softly on the roof. "Do you regret requesting me?" I asked. She looked at me steadily. "No." The word landed gently, but it carried weight. "I don't know what this is," I admitted, gesturing vaguely between us. And I don't know if it's real or just two people standing in the fallout of their family's mistakes. Evelyn stepped closer, stopping just within reach. Her eyes searched mine, not demanding, not pushing. Maybe it doesn't need a name yet, she said. Maybe it just needs honesty. For a moment, everything felt suspended. The rain, the tension inside the house, the years of anger that suddenly seemed too heavy to keep carrying. I thought about Naomi's text, about the fear hidden in it, about how she'd probably been living with guilt I never saw. I need to talk to my sister, I said. Evelyn nodded. You should. I turned to leave, then hesitated. What happens to us? I asked quietly. She didn't rush to answer. She looked out at the rain, then back at me. That depends on who we become after this, she said. Not who we were before. Her honesty hit deeper than any promise could. I left the house that night with more questions than answers, but something inside me felt lighter, like a knot that had been pulled tight for years had finally loosened. Later, sitting in my car overlooking the city, Naomi's contact glowing on my phone screen, I realized something I wish someone had told me earlier. Sometimes love doesn't arrive as a clean beginning. Sometimes it shows up wrapped in old wounds, unfinished stories, and people you were taught to avoid. And the real courage isn't choosing the perfect person. It's choosing to see the truth, even when it rewrites everything you thought you knew. Because the past doesn't define you the way silence does. That night, before starting the engine, I finally called my sister. And for the first time in years, I listened.